but I know I'll be hunting high and low. There's no end to the wings of gold.
Hello and welcome to I Don't Get It, the pop culture gotta find longcast. This show features the open-minded musings of two early 50s curmudgeons. So I guess between the two of us, that's one centenarian, I guess.
Yes.
That's the
apparently, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Math is not my strong suit, but I'm trying to.
Willard Scott, if the two of us combined into one human being, firestorm-like fashion. Well, is Willard Scott? No, Willard Scott's dead. Do they still do that on the Today Show? Is it Al Roker? Who's? Oh my God, I have no idea. But did they still do that on the Today Show? They honor people who turn 100.
Centenarians. That's a good question. So wait, which one of us would be the Which one of us would be Ronnie Raymond, and which one of us would be the professor?
Oh, Professor Stein.
Yes.
I think I have to be Professor Stein.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I'm any
The other
more
way
qualified
around.
to be the body and you to be the sort of floating face in the air. You know.
Part of those you don't know, Firestorm's a superhero. He's a TV star now who is the nuclear man, and he was the combination of a nuclear fusion of a teenager and his high school teacher. So the teenager had control of the body and the powers, but he could hear the professor's voice in his head, like giving him advice on how to use his nuclear powers. So yeah, I don't know. Technically you're older. You're a month older by almost exactly a month. So maybe you should be Professor Stein.
I guess we'll slug it out later.
We'll slug it out later, and then Willard Scott or whoever will wish us happy birthday, and all will be well in the universe.
So that said nuclear man, the fusion of two 50s people combined to equal one wise centenarian curmudgeon.
Yes.
Each of us, or the three of us, or the one of us, depending on how you do the math, stares down the prospect of entertainment relevance. I'm your co-host, Bill Scurry of American Caesar Enterprises, which is the Midwest's largest producer and purveyor of artificial crab meat, which, when you think about it, it's pretty much just raccoon.
Artificial crab meat? So you're saying it's not artificial crab meat, it's an artificial version of what the world knows as artificial crab meat.
Well, what is artificial crab meat to start with? It's like that.
I actually don't know. I've never investigated that question that I can remember.
But how many other foodstuffs do you know that there's a signed and sealed version you can order that is just like artificial crab meat? So far as I know, crab meat is the only thing where an acceptable fugazi, there is an option for it that is called artificial crab meat.
There's fake meat all over the place, dude. There's Impossible Burgers. There's artificial beef.
I think that in particular, what's inside of those things.
I have no idea what's inside of those things. Part of the reason my stomach's so screwed up is because I ate them all the time.
Yeah, I guess you make a point. I never thought about that much.
Yeah, there's a lot of artificial stuff out. There's Ritz crackers. You can make artificial apple pie. I won a bet once.
Yeah.
I won a bet once when someone told me that mock apple pie actually had apples in it. I'm like, no, that's the whole point. It doesn't. It must have apples in it. I'm like, it doesn't have apples in it. That's the whole point.
I did a science project. Jesus, what year was that? I must have been 12 or 13 years old, where it was it was like the sense teaser of like that counted as a science project that year. It was
making mock apple pie.
Yeah,
that was a science project.
Well, I managed to.
Department really needed some work, my friend.
You know what? I think as high school went on, it picked up steam a little more. So I was happy about that at least.
Good for you. Yeah. What was the name of your high school? What'd you graduate?
Sachem High School.
Sachem High School. SACHEM. Okay.
That's the one.
Congratulations. Yep. Class of 93, I imagine.
That's it. Yeah. Ask for it by name. Okay. Apple pie, mock apple pie for everybody.
It's still on display in the science department. Okay. It won't go back. My name's Noah Tarnow. I'm the founder and the senior quizmaster of the big quiz thing, the Trivia Game Show Spectacular. Bill, every week we're trying to keep up. We're getting older. We look at something that's happening. This is the number one show on Netflix right now is our topic.
Good God, man. It just came out of nowhere. But yes, apparently it is not only that, but it's like eclipsing not that there's a Nielsen, but it's eclipsing a lot of metrics for any TV show. Yeah.
Exactly. Did the Nielsen still exist?
They do,
but had to have been bullshit. Yeah. That had to have been bullshit.
It's a religion that all of programming lived their life by for decades. So you tell me.
All right. So, the Nielsen's was, those of you don't know, that's how TV ratings used to happen pre-streaming years ago. But the way they did it is they gave certain people like boxes that they put on their TVs, and the boxes evaluated how many hours they watched which networks. Am I right? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, but the TV box thing, that's an anachronism. That's a long time gone. But yes, that is how it once was done. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I'm at Netflix right now. According to this, it's currently the number 6 show in America. This is the show we're talking about.
All right.
So it was number 1 or something. It came out. When did it come out?
July 21.
Okay, so there's been over a month. Anyway, Bill, tell us about, and it was a recommendation of one of our listeners, tell us about The Hunting Wives on Netflix.
Yeah, anything that comes out of this, we're going to blame Amanda Swavey, friend of the program, guest of the show, but she's certainly not the only person who watched this. This is a sensation that is bubbling up right now, or at least I guess it's over. It bubbled up, past tense, but Hunting Wives is something we will call texploitation. I believe is a nice soft term for it.
Texploitation. Oh, you mean Texas?
Yeah.
I thought it was tech, like, the tech industry.
No, TEX.
Texploitation. Lone Star exploitation.
Yeah, Rio Grande Valley exploitation. It is a televisual drama series based on a novel of the same name by an author named May Cobb, someone I've never heard of. But again, she talked about somebody must be very wealthy today just in a short period of time because of how well this has turned her fortunes around. So unlike other successful shows on our blighted and cursed age, this one mixes a very commonplace approach, the framework of a soapy nighttime drama that everybody's familiar with murder. Again, part of it is very familiar too. That's almost a sine qua non for a lot of shows. I mean, there was a whole cottage industry of British, what are they called, cozy murder shows, where it was like some small village in the Cotswolds would have like a severe rape and murder, and then the police would have to come in and spend a whole season figuring out which of these tea cozies, did the murder. So murder has been mixed that stuff for a little. That's not unusual. What is unusual is a fair amount of, I would say, lesbian sex, and not just lesbian sex, including lesbian sex, but a lot of intercoursal related pictured acts, replete with nudity and sex, or as Wilford Brimley said, what is it? Various intimate acts, oral and whatnot.
You said it features a lot of sex, but not just sex, depictions of sexual acts.
Yeah.
that was a great turn of phrase, man. Okay, continue.
So this show stars Brittany Snow, Malin Ackerman, Evan Jonigkeit, Katie Lowes, George Ferrier, Dermot Mulroney, who I believe is mostly known from all of history.
For not being Dylan McDermott?
You got it. That's exactly it.
I remember him from About Schmidt, he
was the dumb fuck son-in-law. Yeah, he was great. Yeah. And Chris, as Noah mentioned before the mics went hot, Chrissy Metz, who's a veteran of I don't get it because she was on This Is Us. Yes. You would know her because she's a larger actress. You don't see too many of those in the pop sphere these days. Right. So this show premiered on July 21, as said, on Netflix, of course, my favorite streamer. I don't have anything else to say about that. So I'm sure it won't come up with the rest of this thing. So this is set in a place called Maplebrook, fictional East Texas town. Yes. However, shot in outside of Charlotte.
Maple Grove?
It says Brook. I copied it.
It's Brook? Yeah. Okay, I remembered it as Grove. Right. Okay.
This is it's funny. It's like the Charlotte, what do they call it? Mecklenburg County environs is subbing in. I think it's a cheat.
Yes, it is not filmed in Texas. Apparently Texans are upset because they say it doesn't even look like Texas.
And they're right, so far as
I think it doesn't look like Texas because you don't see just constant highways everywhere. But what do I know?
I love how in The Office they would leave the office and they would be right out in like Sherman Oaks or something like that, and it was like, oh, this is definitely Scranton, Pennsylvania. You weren't supposed to question at all why there's the Sierra Nevada mountains are right outside of Scranton, but hey, we're not going to mention that. So the in this fictional East Texas town, a woman named Sophie, played by Brittany Snow, who's a TV veteran. I guess she's almost 50 now. She's been around for a while. I think she's in her late 40s. I think I first started in her
late 40s.
Something like that. She started bubbling up.
I'm looking at
early 40s.
I've never heard of this woman before. Never seen her.
She's a TV veteran. That's why I think she's in maybe early 40s, mid 40s, something like that.
She is 39.
Okay, there you go.
She's 39. Yeah.
Good enough. So,
Late
Sophie,
40s, 39, only 10 years.
I don't. Yeah, the TV people all look the same anyway. God knows. So she's
That
a
math
young
is not
woman,
your forte.
a wife, and a mom. She moves to a small Texas town with her husband Graham, played by the aforementioned, hard to pronounce Evan Yonig Kite guy, who I've not seen. He has a very Jeremy Renner looking face. He's got a sort of strange build to
I
him.
guess so. Yeah.
I think she quickly gets drawn.
I think he looks like, I think he looks like Anthony Starr, Homelander on The Boys.
I kind of thought he also looked Christopher Eccleston with more hair.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I could see
if that means anything to you in the audience there. Yes. So Sophie is drawn into the glamorous, dangerous world of a Texas socialite named Margot, played by Malin Ackerman, who's been around for a minute now. You may know her, as Noah says, from Entourage and Watchmen. Of course, she was also had a pretty small role in the first Harold and Kumar movie, which I think is much more favorable to her and her skills. Yeah. She played Christopher Maloney, the demented taxi tow truck driver.
Oh, she played that woman?
Yeah.
I mean, she's been in she's been in 1,000 things. I just only know her from Watchmen.
Come inside, have something to drink, make yourself at home, fuck my wife.
Fuck my wife. I tell you, that movie, you see it in the right time, in the right place, is brilliant. I saw it in a movie theater when it came out. I went to White Castle the next day. It scratched an itch. I was 29 years old or something. I was the perfect age.
No, it's funny, And so Margot has an elite clique in this fictional town called the Hunting Wives. Not like not quite like a Mean Girls Club, but not like a Mean Girls Club. Anyway, as Sophie,
I don't know. There's a lot of mean girls to it.
That's true. As Sophie draws closer to Margot, she becomes entangled in a web of obsession, secrets. And of course, the murder. A teenage girl named Abby is found dead in the woods, and it's sort of done in kind of I think it's the end of episode 1. It's almost like a blind cut. Yeah, it's the usual thing where they obscure the identity of the murderer, and it hangs over the show like it's a Columbo or something like that. It's right out of the book, the deal. Yeah. So the show is being run by somebody named Rebecca Cutter. TV hand I've never seen before. 8 episodes have dropped, that's the complete season. It's been a sensation. This show is made for Stars with the Z, of course, not an S.
I didn't even realize that was still a network. I had no idea.
I mean, they dropped this for some reason, or they balked. It's hard to tell what the deal was. So they decided to sell it to Netflix, and Netflix is kind of like tit averse. They don't like doing a lot of they want this stuff to be right down the center in terms of like family type. They want Stranger Things audiences. Don't get me wrong, they'll show a nipple every now and then, but it's like their stuff is pretty chaste. Violence you can get away with, but I think Netflix, to me, among the other sins that it has, it's like it's very sex scared. It's very sex.
You see a lot. This show's pretty explicit. It's definitely the most explicit thing I've seen on Netflix. You see not quite a few boobs, but you see 4 boobs many times.
Yes. Yeah.
You see a penis on one occasion. Mm-hmm. And
it's titillating. It's not just.
And there is for TV, it's pretty explicit the sex acts going on. You see a strap-on dildo being used. It honestly, it's like they go there.
Those parts are like Verhoeven, It's like there is definitely a tittillating. It is not incidental nudity. It's not natural nudity. No. It is designed to titillate the viewer. Which is great.
Well, the penis is almost a joke, but it's there. It's okay. You see the dong in its full glory.
Yeah, and so, the success is that it has been crushing, which is weird considering that it's going up against season 2 of Wednesday, which has been a presumed juggernaut, and this is sort of punching its weight against that. And nobody expected this to be a thing. But again, if you have somebody like Amanda coming out of the woodwork in a DM saying it's like, hey, maybe this is something you want to see, and it's like a lot of people in podcasts are talking about it. I mean, I should say I've heard a lot of people discussing this. So there's chatter. There's something to it. Yeah. And the book, of course, not that we're going to be discussing the book, but the book gained traction on Amazon. I don't know how big it was, but it's like it became a bestseller because of this. It's like this is a sort of phenomenon. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Noah, what did you think of the 2 episodes that you watched?
No, you watched 2 episodes.
Oh, that's right. That was me. Yeah.
Well, the show is really over the top. The acting is generally pretty weak. The dialogue is cheesy. Virtually none of the characters are sympathetic. I mean, there's one cop who you really like, and everyone else is either an awful person or pathetic. The actors have very limited chemistry, which undercuts some of the sex scenes. A lot of the actors have extremely punchable faces. That kid, George something, who plays Brad, the teenager, You know what he looks like? He looks like he should be a villain in a Karate Kid sequel. He is just the most, unlikable looking teenage boy ever. There is an attempt at satire here that is clumsy and awkward and unsuccessful. And the whole mystery about who killed Abby has 1,000 plot holes. That said, I watched the whole series. I watched episode 1 through episode 8. I finished episode 8 last night. And I've also dipped into a subreddit, the Netflix subreddit, and 1,000 people are basically saying the same thing. They're saying, this is trash, but I love it. I've watched the whole thing. I wouldn't say I love it, but I found it entertaining. And that's why, frankly, it's a litmus test. I got sucked into the mystery. Why did I love it? Because I wanted to keep watching. That's why I kept watching. I got sucked into the mystery and I wanted to know what happened. And frankly, a testament to how clumsy it is I guessed halfway through who killed Abby. I guessed most of the texture of who did it and why and exactly what happened. Frankly, I also thought it was pretty sexy. I thought the sex scenes were hot,
Indisputable. It is absolutely
beautiful women braving each other desperately and going at it. I listened to the NPR Pop Culture Happy Hour episode about this, and there's a quote I wrote down. It says, this is for people who think Desperate Housewives would be better if the wives were also having sex with each other. Now, at the height of Desperate Housewives, I'm sure there was a movie you could have watched that was along those lines. You could have found somewhere in the internet or bought at a less reputable video store. I think you know what I mean. This is, I would argue, better storytelling than that might have been. But even though, the sex is hot and you're drawn in because of the sex, it's less simplistic than you might expect, right? It explores the idea of sex between these women. It explores the idea of non-traditional desire. There are men in the show having sex, but the men's desire is really incidental, barely addressed at all. And it's really about female desire. And frankly, you don't see that a whole lot in mainstream TV. You don't see that on Netflix, which makes this more interesting in a respect than a topic we looked in the past, like Sex Life. Actually, Sex Life was about female desire.
Was it on Netflix? I was trying to comp that. I don't think that was that Hulu. Maybe it was Hulu. I forget what it was.
Netflix. I don't think I had Hulu still then. No, I take that back because that was about female desire, but it was about heterosexual female desire. This is about homosexual female desire among women who do not fit the homosexual stereotype. So that makes it, to my mind, more interesting. Now, in terms of the satire, there's a Rolling Stone article that I should have sent to you, was very worth reading, that really addressed the satire idea. The Rolling Stone headline summed it up. It said, "The Hunting Wives is bad satire, but it's damn good TV." And there's a quote in the article I wrote down. "It feels like the entire season has one driving goal. Republican bad, Democrat also bad. Now let's watch them kiss." I was hoping for smarter satire. It's about, as he said, this woman from Boston, Cambridge actually, who's dropped into Texas and has to deal with these rich, entitled Republican wives, hunting wives who, have their guns, and they don't talk about politics much, but when they do, they're, very right wing and very dismissive of the left wing. And of course, they're complete hypocrites about everything. I was, I'm a lefty in this day and age, so I was hoping they would dig into that more. I was hoping for smarter satire. It does point out the lessons. Everyone contradicts their supposed principles and false piety, but it's shoved down our throats by paper. I mean, it's not shoved down our throats because it's intermittent, but when it does, it is on the part of paper-thin characters. Most of these characters are very boring. Margot, Malin Ackerman's character, the main character, along with Brittany Snow's character of Sophie, is the only interesting character. And Ackerman does a good job as an actress, definitely better than she was in Watchmen, but her character feels only about 80% written. She's all over the place with her intentions, her feelings. It's a little hard to read, like, did she really like that person, or was she just manipulating them? It's a little hard to get a handle on who she is beyond some received wisdom and exposition. So I feel like this is mostly more of the same of the Netflix pablum that is shoved down our throats. It pushes the envelope in certain buttons in terms of satisfying an itch for a murder mystery, for sex, but it is ultimately a weak television program that just gives you a fun, mindless time. And It's enough for me for 8 hours, clearly, but I don't know if it's going to stay with me at all beyond.
Look, I'm trying to separate my feelings towards the streamer of Netflix because it is a running theme in our dialogue here, and the competencies of the show, the kind of like things that it attempts to do and how well it sets out to do those things. Look, it's evident that Netflix creates this, its output with the idea that it's being played in the background of you folding laundry or scrolling through TikTok. It's a second screen experience. That's what they say TikTok is. I mean, that's what they say Netflix is. Kind of litigating a larger point about, how I feel about Netflix. And so it kind of like, to me, it's a preamble to everything I watch that the show puts out. So I think, the notes and the themes are about as enormous and loud as it's gotta be picked up by inattentive viewers who are just sort of half paying attention over their shoulders, this sort of thing. I think that benefits a series like this. I mean, because there really isn't any subtlety in it. I mean, everything is up to 10. It's not a flaw, though. I mean, I may not like it attitudinally. It's a design thing. The show was made with that in mind. Even though it was made for stars, it's, the whole thing is supposed to be big and plotty and soupy and soapy and all that kind of shit. It's like what you use the word satire, right? And it's like, I think that this is the sort of thing on its face that looks like it's going to be a outsider's view of Texas MAGA, Midlands kind of Dallas suburb culture, that kind of thing. By the way, I don't know if you picked this up, but in the book, she is not from Boston. That is a contrivance made for the TV show. She is one of them. There's not the outsider.
Are you
complex.
sure?
Yeah,
I don't think that's true.
No, it is true. That's what I read about.
The thing I read about the book said she's from Chicago.
Well, then maybe the Cambridge thing. I thought there was a part of it where I thought the fact that she kind of just gets there is a little bit of a new thing for her. So far as anyway, look, the point is though, is that I think that rather than having kind of a scant look at this sort of big hair, pickup truck. I mean, not like redneck type, shit kicker country, but it's like the Tom DeLay, George W. Bush type Texas of that big Dallas oil man type shit. It's like, I think it's actually worshiping it. I don't think it's satire. It's not sending it up at all. I think
it's worshiping these people.
Yeah, I think it's worshiping the culture. It's having its cake and it's eating it as well. Or two, if you want to think about it that way.
I can see that. Yeah. I think it pokes them a little. My point is it doesn't poke them smartly enough. So the poking falls flat.
This is strange for me to say again, because I'm a big fan of the exposed topless female. This show has a lot of the sort of things that should be great to watch. The weirdest that I thought is that it treats, say, gay female sexuality as kind of like a forbidden vice. I mean, it does depict over, what the man's joys necessarily aren't nearly as important. They're not foregrounded the way that the women's sexuality is. There's no doubt about that. However, it kind of like, every single hair extensioned wife in the show is kind of closeted. They're all engaging in this lascivious secret sex while living down low. It's this kind of like forbidden pleasure where it's treated rather than something that could be, like a bunch of Rachel Maddows or something like that. This whole idea that it's still this fruit that you can't bite from. It's othering it to a degree for sort of prurient, whatever. That's my point. And then I could draw it back by saying that I think these actors, in spite of me recognizing Malin Ackerman and Brittany Snow, these are, Dermot Mulroney, I think, is the sort of biggest case actor who's in this thing in terms of he's got a history. He's been around for, 35 years or so in film. Yeah, he's just an accomplished resume. This is a B-team show. I mean, I get it. By the time you're putting this out on a network, you've lost your pick of the first round, your first round draft picks, and you're stuck with these kind of guys. And look, that's not a death knell for a show, but to me, it says it's like this is who you get on a Netflix show that was sold to Stars that is coming out in July of 2025. This is kind of like who is available of these actors who are left over. They're TV jobbers like Brittany Snow. Brittany Snow does not have a huge career. She has been known for doing things like this along the way. She's a reliable face who came up on Guiding Light. There's a lot of soap opera veterans, and it's like,
really, she was on the Guiding Light.
Yeah, back at the beginning of her career, probably 20 years ago or something like that.
Is that show still on? Are any of those shows still on?
They're on. They never go away. That's the thing. And I want to bring this up. You say that guy who plays Brad, that fucking guy that is he's a Kiwi actor. The guy's from like Auckland.
Really?
And it's like he has the most,
such a punchable face.
He's got the most New Zealand bone structure. Not for a single second did I. Come on, I didn't for a single second.
The big nostrils, like the high school bully looking face.
His head looks like 17 hamburgers stacked up atop one another. The guy is like a fucking. It's just, again, it's like these things. You're asking these guys to come in. They would rather cast cheap Kiwi actors you've never seen before who are shitty. Like Brad is a terrible actor. He's doing a terrible non-rhotic Texas accent because he's a fucking Kiwi. And it's like, I'm sick of affordable actors doing work for Netflix. And especially you got to go all the way to Auckland to get these people to pretend to play Texans.
Do you have a pad? I'm not sure. Let me check. I have a tampon. Thanks, but I can't use that. I'm Margot, by the way. Sophie. Hi. Hi, Sophie. You're not from around here, are you?
Clearly, The Hunting Wives is not your cup of tea. Why do you think it seems to be the cup of tea of many other people?
It's sensational, and I use the satire in quotes. It's a pointed satire on wealthy Texan Republicans, which is a kind of like a, Texas has this oversized footprint in America, just because it's like, I mean, it's a populous state, but it's such a weird place. I mean, we know that it's purple. We know that demographically it's purple, but it's like it would be
purple if they actually had they actually run fairly. But
but it's like it's not. I'm saying it is a deeply corrupt place that has changed so dramatically since the days of Ann Richards in such a way that it doesn't look like any place on earth that I could imagine living in, even though I know plenty of Texans who live a very happy life living around the Austin and San Antonio area, which I believe is probably a very comfortable place to live with a lot of good food, that sort of thing. Either
if you're a certain type of person these days.
Exactly. Good way to put it. I just say Dallas was an enormous hit 40 years ago. My mother watched it religiously. That was her favorite.
Oh, the TV show Dallas.
Yeah. I'm saying that there is a tradition. There's a role or sort of groove in this kind of TV show being out there that is, to be seen. So J.R. Ewing, but I was going to say in my notes here, J.R. Ewing looks like Jesse Jackson compared to some of these people. I mean, in terms of how like arch conservative and sort of like weird, fucked up through the looking glass, MAGA Texas, gun owning, all this sort of bullshit.
They do have the token black characters on the show, though. I don't know how realistic that is.
It's not, but I mean, in some ways, it seems more insulting that you're like trying to insinuate African Americans here. It's like, look, Texas has a huge African, but it's like I think those places are mostly in Dallas and the big cities of Houston and stuff like that.
Every city must have a giant black community.
Right, but I don't. When you get to like Amarillo and these places, it's like I think that again the idea of like what you think Texas is and what it appears.
My Texas, a couple weeks in Austin. That's it.
So the thing is. This has the appeal. You got full frontal. You got oral sex. You got murder. You got lifestyle porn. Like the first episode, which I didn't go very far past the first episode, but one of the things they bring up is, what was it, a $20,000 bottle of whiskey? Like
$25,000.
$25,000. It's like this affluence porn. Like she's driving this low slung pickup truck and they're doing donuts, and that pickup truck looks like it's a custom job with like some engine. It's like it has this kick of an 8-cylinder. Again, it's lifestyle porn.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's got all these ingredients. It's got sex. It's got the murder mystery, and frankly, for all the show's goofiness, it kept me hooked. I wanted to know who killed Abby. And wait, who killed J.R. Ewing? Who was it? Who did it turn out to be?
No, who shot J.R. Ewing? He wasn't killed.
Oh, who shot J.R., right, because he lived.
Was it Pamela Gray or Victoria? Either Pamela Gray or Victoria Principal. That's one of the two. Yeah.
Why don't I even ask? I've never seen the show. I was going to make a joke about who actually shot Abby. It was the same person who shot JR, but it's not worth it. It's stupid. Has sex as the murder mystery. I think the hypocrisy element. I think a lot of Netflix viewers want to see, MAGA Texans, and they never say MAGA on the show, and you never see a red hat, and they never give the name of the orange trader. But, they clearly voted for him, these characters. And I think people want to see that hypocrisy. They want to see these people pointing out, it scratches an itch, even though it is not helpful politically, like these people who will vote against the rights of other people to live freely, will exercise their freedom in irresponsible ways, right? or will, be as hedonistic as people in Boston, but vote to limit the ability to enjoy hedonism of other people. I think a lot of people want to see that, especially compared to a topic we looked at previously on the show was Yellowstone. And one thing that bothered me about Yellowstone is it seemed to come from the right-wing point of view and say what I thought was a false view of these people's. I mean, I know the characters in Yellowstone were far from perfect.
Yellowstone's a good comp. Now that I think about it, there's a lot of overlap there. Yeah.
I mean, they were very flawed characters in a drama, whatever, but their principles seem to have weight that I think in the modern world is hard to ascribe, at least en masse, maybe to individuals. I think a lot of individuals still have principles, but in the main, I think those principles have almost completely fallen apart in our country. So a lot of people want to see that. They want to see, these people, look how fake and phony and stupid and evil they are. And that subreddit I read, everyone's like, I binged it in a weekend. I loved it. It's so stupid, but man, was it fun, blah, blah, blah. That's a form of escape we're all looking for, with the world being horrific. There's a lot of comfort in just relaxing on the couch with your pet and watching a world that has no direct connection to you and watching crises that aren't real, that aren't going to affect you.
You really want people looking at the way you have fun? The way we have fun?
Oh, hell, people don't care about that anymore. They don't want a Boy Scout. They want a man.
Noah, would you have liked Hunting Wives if you were a kid?
No. I never watched Desperate Housewives.
Neither did I. It's not a badge of honor.
Maybe
right?
half an episode where I'm visiting my mom or something. What was it about? It was about housewives who were desperate.
It probably does what it said on the tin. I think that there was a murder of somebody in the neighborhood, but it was really the secrets these women have as their blithe, obsequious husbands would sort of go to work. Kyle MacLachlan was the standard husband of like, hi, honey, you're like, what happened during the day? And it's like, well, they tried to hide a murderer. It was heightened. I think there was definitely some
cartoonish. But it was I thought it was like
it was
a dark comedy.
It was made by gay men for straight women, so it had a flourish that this show doesn't. It was a different kind of theme. Tones were different.
It was the Golden Girls of its time.
Yeah.
So stuff like that never really appealed to me. If I had seen that pop culture happy hour quote, it's Desperate Housewives, where the housewives having more sex with each other, I might have gone, all right, maybe I'll watch an episode of this, because especially when I was younger, I was a heterosexual male who was like a lot of other heterosexual males. So this show has nothing for young me except sex, but hey, sex makes the world go around. So
no, I would not have watched this as a kid, but the true story here, as I mentioned, my mom's favorite / only series back in the 80s was Dallas. So Dallas was on as a component of what was being shown to adults when I was a kid. The kind of television that didn't appeal to me. It wasn't interesting at all. It had a different, the mood of an hour-long nighttime soap at 9 p.m. on CBS on Friday nights or something like that was way different than anything else I was watching. And, the soapy nighttime drama, and there was that sort of oil barony, the Shakespearean oil barony of the Ewing family. And they're fighting for control within the family for sort of King Leary type shit, that sort of thing. That was all outside my purview. I found it boring, and it was just too soapy. It didn't look like it had any of the things I was looking for in terms of comedy or the different tones. It was surreal almost in the way it was so soapy. And it's like, I never had cause to revisit Dallas because it just didn't look like there was anything there. Like, it was worth me giving it a shot to say, what didn't I see? Why was it so popular? Some of these shows from the 80s when we were kids, it's like you can look back and say, oh, I get why Cagney and Lacey was ahead of its time. There was something to these programs that were just boilerplate wallpaper back in the 80s. I never went back and did that with Dallas, that sort of thing. However, this was what's weird. In spite of Malin Ackerman's tits, man, there's not enough here to divert my attention. It's like the one way to get me to watch something is by making it like Porky's. Put the Rebecca De Mornay in Risky Business. You know what I'm saying? It's like put the sex in there, and it's like make it something I shouldn't want to see. And it's like even with all the boobies, I just still don't think it's the kind of thing that would have diverted my attention in spite of everything else.
Oh boy.
Everything all right, man?
No, not really. I'm in trouble with my husband.
You're a grown woman. You can't get in trouble.
All right, so Bill, in what way is the rise of the Hunting Wives The end of civilization as we know it.
Is that the sequel?
Apocalypse.
The Rise of the Hunting Wives is like the
Rise of
the
the Rise of the
J.J.
Dawn of the
Abrams.
Hunting
Yeah, the Rise of the
Dawn of the Battle for the Hunting Wives. Conquest of the Hunting Wives.
War of the Beneath the Planet of the Hunting Wives.
Beneath the Planet of the Hunting Wives.
You know, this show is bopping along. No, it's doing the bidding. Well, even though it was designed for different master, it's doing the bidding of Netflix's algorithm. So I certainly can't attribute any sense of the end time to it, because it is, you know, a piece of carpentered wood, you know, sanded down and lacquered and given soft edges to do the work of a Netflix show. The thing is, though, is that Netflix, to me, continues to demean narrative storytelling with facile formulas, algorithmically generated conceits, and the sort of executional construction of shows. You know, the actors they pull into it. Again, New Zealanders that are trying to be Texas or fucking... Do you remember when we did the Archie show? Archie was being
Riverdale,
played.
yeah.
Riverdale. Archie was being played by a Kiwi from like Christchurch. I'm like, how is this happening? How the fuck is
Why
this
do you
happening?
care so much?
Because
Actors
you can
have always
hear
played
it.
people from
No,
other countries.
but you can hear right through it. These fucking guys, I don't care how good. I'm not saying they're not good actors. It's like their fucking voices don't hold up. It's shoddy. Cast, if you want, you got to cast somebody who can come harder than a fucking Kiwis.
How do you know what Texas? See, I don't know. For as far as I know, they all sound like authentic.
I know
Texans.
that
can't tell.
New Zealanders and Australians are non-rhotic, and it's the same thing with the British. It's like they butcher American accents because they overemphasize the R, and especially with Texan R's are lighter R's than regular American accents, and so that it's such a fucking near miss, man. Anyway, look, there's that part of it, but the sort of halved attention span theater, anything I watch from Netflix just has this look of like, this doesn't demand my, this isn't something I need to pay attention to. This looks disposable. This may be more so than anything else. Like, this already is, to me, is not a great show, but just watching it, it looks like it's not a great show. It doesn't look beautiful. It looks junky. It looks facile. You know, there's really nothing to the, even though, you know what's weird? I was going to say that I had to put this in my notes. This was directed by actually some really credible TV people. A woman named Cheryl Dunye, who made what, so far as I know, is the only black lesbian independent drama. I think it was the late 80s, early 90s. She is a trailblazer in cinema. She directed 1 or 2 episodes of this. Could you tell? Probably not, but it's like anything that gives Cheryl Dunye work is incredible. And it's just, she's a gay woman, and it's like, that's why you could tell probably some, you know, the men's sexuality is backburnered on this, and it's like, because it's probably being made by lesbian creators. However, it's just like there's nothing else to it. I just don't think it's serving the material that well. I don't think it's serving the creators that well either. That's just my feeling.
Well, I do not think this is a sign of the apocalypse. And look, you understand filmmaking way better than I do, but I disagree with you. I think it's trash, but it's competently made. I think it looks good. I think the women look great. Everyone on Netflix is talking about how Malin Ackerman has this terrible wig, but I'm like, I thought her hair was hot.
Oh, they all have terrible wigs. They're huge.
I can't
hair
tell.
helmets.
I can't fucking tell.
If they're on Netflix, they got a wig, and they got.
All right. Well, anyway, I think this is competently made, competently shot. For all the storytelling flaws, it's a litmus test. It draws you in. The twists and the turns are not the greatest in, you know, film history. It's not the usual suspects, but it's interesting and engaging. For the most part, this is competently made entertainment, and it comes and it goes, and that's probably all that's worth it. Frankly, man, I'm starting to think there will almost certainly be a second season. They leave it at the end with, they could let it go without.
They made a second season of Squid Game. They'll come back with this.
Well, they will, because it's a hit. But if it had been, there are a couple unanswered questions, but like, you don't feel like they absolutely need a second season, but they will, because it's a hit. And I will probably watch at least 1 episode.
Honey, I know it's hard, but you have to keep your strength up. Carol brought sandwiches and someone sent over some fruit cut up to look like flowers. Could you just eat some fruit?
I don't want fruit. I want justice.
Noah, let's talk about jealousy and the Falloonian scale. Let's talk about the 2 last aspects of our podcast, the thing that people are hanging on to hear about. Is there anything that caused you envy or to feel envy in this case?
No. I'm very glad I don't live in Texas. There's that.
But your exes live there, though.
I did have one woman from Texas, and I have no idea where she is now, to the point I thought of her recently, and I could not find a photo of her anywhere on the internet. So for all I know, she's back in Texas, but no, the only ex of mine who has any connection to Texas. It's a song, folks. Look it up. I mean, look, they don't talk about how Texas is. They don't talk about it, but you got to be in a car constantly. It's always 1,000 degrees. Putting aside the hate and intolerance and all that. So I just look at this. I'm like, wow, glad I don't live in Texas. I'm glad I'm not. I didn't go to high school with these characters, the high school characters, because they're pretty, at best, boring and at worst, offensive.
Malicious, yeah.
Yeah, malicious. God, nobody's likable in the show. And they go to a mega church, and all the supposed Christians are just trash hypocrites. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but like one of the worst characters on the show is explicitly Christian. One of the characters I think you could describe as evil is explicitly Christian.
Underlined as such. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's these people are disgusting. So I'm glad they're not in my world.
Yeah. I heard about this through a wave of enthusiasm. There's again, a lot of good surrogates. I trust Amanda Swavey. She's got really good taste, and she likes the right dumb stuff, and she likes the right smart stuff. So it's like, if she said something to it, obviously there's got to be something. There's got to be something there, and I want to latch into that. Also, I listened to Kara Swisher's podcast. She's in that Scott Galloway universe, and she's really credible. And she also, I think, was looking for gay TV, and she found it. It's one of the reasons
she liked this, really.
Oh yeah. I think that there's, this does not look like the other shows on TV. This is, again, it's what is it? Prurient purview. There's something there for you if you're looking for it. Again, people are biting down on the sensationalism. They're extolling the show's seediness. The thing is, I'm just not interested in the show. I'm not jealous of that fandom. I'm glad they have something that is for them. It's just not for me. And I was going to say the creators, whoever came up with the book and this sort of thing, none of this phenomenon kind of inspires, a feeling of jealousy. Not looking at what it's doing for Brittany Snow's career or Malin Ackerman, however she wound up here. I guess it's a good gig. I'm not trying to be, snobby.
Where is she from? Is she European?
She's Swedish, but grew up in Toronto, I think, but she's born in Stockholm or something like that. Right. Yeah. So Noah, what about the scale? Give me a comp that you would array this with.
Like I said, I started with Yellowstone. That's what I compared it to. It's the show for. I mean, that's what I thought at first. It's a show for Southerners, but this is not a show for Southerners. I mean, I'm sure plenty of Southerners like it. But
yeah, sure.
I would imagine ones who have more of a sense of humor about themselves.
I mean, I haven't read it. It's like, but the Texans could look at this and say, the mirror to shittiness is, would you be into this? Because it really is unflattering. You might say it's like, it's about
that's what I'm
somebody
saying.
else and not me,
Right. A Texan who looks at this probably has a sense of humor. I mean, there's a lot of humorlessness down there now, in my impression, because, people think
punching down is a full-time job,
Yeah. So I took Yellowstone, and then I thought of and maybe I'm misremembering this, but I thought of the female desire element, lesbianism. Remember Zola?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were the women into each other in Zola? That's how I remember it. Or am I wrong?
But there was a real kind of roller coaster ride of what is this equaling out to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Yellowstone times a quarter of Zola, then half of sex/life, which was very sexy. You got dongs in that. Was about, as I said before, about female desire, but female heterosexual desire. I don't believe there was any homosexual desire in that one, although I didn't make it to season 2. So Yellowstone times a quarter of Zola plus half of sex life minus 32.187411111.
Now you're just doing a Yoko Ono song now.
Pretty much. We're going to do I Don't Get It Yoko Ono next week. How old is Yoko? Yoko's still alive.
Oh, right? She's I think 85. Yeah, she's up there. I think she just had her birthday. I saw something from Sean Lennon. Yeah, she's an old lady now for sure, I think.
Sean Lennon was all right.
She was older than John, I think, by a couple of years.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, I forget.
Sean Lennon, is 50 now. He's all right.
Yeah, I remember that too. I thought the comp was easy in this case. For some reason, of all the things, Yellowstone's a nice direct thing. I'm not going to comp it to Yellowstone. I'm going to comp it to Cocaine Bear. No, Cocaine Bear was something that everybody said was a lot of fun. everybody said was like, it's this raucous thing that is all over the place in tones, and it was made by a female director, so it had this, outsider's viewpoint on something that wasn't usually directed by a lady director. And it's like, I watched it and I was like, this isn't for me. I don't know who the fuck this was for. It made money. It's just that it was a popular thing that kind of eluded me a little bit because there's enough inside of it to have it appealed to me. And yet I just could not find a purchase to Cocaine Bear. It's, again, there's the amount of topless women in this who are indisputably attractive if you enjoy the subject of topless women. And it was not enough to get me around to it. I don't know. That's really saying something about it. So if you'd like to find past episodes of the show, look on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Soundcloud, GooglePlay, and YouTube. So social media us at noahandbillshow.bsky.social. Write to us, noahandbilldon'tgetit at gmail.com. Give us a review on the aggregators because that creates heat. Whatever, it's good for us, just makes us feel good ourselves.
Yeah, we're still looking to be famous in our 50s.
I'm just, prick me, am I not a prick? However the expression goes, you know what I'm saying. At BillScurry.bsky.social, at William Scurry, and all that, one of those two things on all the social medias, and youtube.com/AMCs, where you'll find my video output and this podcast in a visual form. And then Noah will tell you where to find him.
Yes, learn about me at bigquizthing.com, The Big Quiz Thing, America's premier providers of corporate and private live trivia events, nationwide, worldwide. A lot of fun stuff coming up. We're doing an event, I'm very proud, just booked this next week, for the Chicago Cubs, the actual players and their wives and girlfriends.
Football team. That's amazing.
Yes, the football team are going to be playing the Big Quiz Thing. We're very excited for that. And we have a Rare Public event coming up September 25th here in San Francisco to film our new promo video. Details about that are going to be on our websites probably this week. Some last minute dotting T's and crossing I's. And you can follow us on Instagram at Big Quiz Thing. We're also on LinkedIn and Facebook. And I personally am on Instagram at the Noah Tarnow because I am the Noah Tarnow and not a Noah Tarnow, if I may say so myself.
All right, everybody. So until the next episode, we move on from lesbians with guns to A-sex people with tridents. We don't get it.
A production of American Caesar Enterprises 2025.